In the case of our next guest, we have two definitions of family law. Our next guest practices family law, real estate, and personal injury law with her husband, Edward, at the East Brunswick, New Jersey law offices of Weinstein and Weinstein. Jessica Weinstein joins us now on today's edition of Salute to Women in Leadership. Jessica, good to have you with us.
Thank you.
Well, let's get right to it. Family law. Has the law kept up with social evolution with regard to divorce? Are men and women treated equally in court?
To a certain extent. Financially, I would say yes, meaning when it comes to alimony, if a female is the breadwinner, she's going to have to pay. However, when it comes to custody and domestic violence, I find that the gender bias has not gone away entirely. I've represented men who have been victims of abuse, and quite frankly, judges don't buy it. Never mind the fact if you have a man that looks bigger than his wife, then judges really don't buy it. Then when it comes to custody cases, it just seems that a lot of judges are pro-mom. And in today's society where both parents are working most of the time, it's a luxury to be a stay-at-home mom nowadays. So where both parents are working, perhaps dad is self-employed and has the ability to be home every day for the children, whereas mom commutes to New York City or some other big town and isn't home until 7 o'clock at night, so she can't pick up the kids from school. In those cases, I find that still judges are reluctant to have the father become the primary parent. So there still is some gender bias in the courts.
Well, let's look in process and your thought process here. When you first start working with a client, what's the most important information you need in order to best represent their interests?
Finances and children. Income figures and do they have children and what are their ages. Also duration of the marriage, meaning when were they married. Those are the, I'd say, three things that really I need to know up front in order to give my potential client a good analysis of how I feel their case will go.
Now, in addition to the more personal aspects of the law, family and personal injury law, you're working in what must be an extremely busy area right now, real estate matters. What are the differences there? Well,
believe it or not, so far this year, I know 7 lawyers that have gone out of business because they did primarily real estate transactions. So because of the swing in the market, even though the East Coast has not been affected as much as the West Coast, lawyers are going out of business that primarily practice in real estate. And now my client base has shifted more towards matrimonial law because it's almost recession-proof. When money's good, people cheat. When money's bad, people fight about money.
Jessica, thanks for joining us. An interesting viewpoint, and glad to have you here to give it to us.
Thank you.
We've been speaking with Jessica Weinstein, the member of the law offices of Weinstein and Weinstein. We reached her by phone at their East Brunswick, New Jersey headquarters.